NEC 408.36 mandates an additional fastener or an equivalent approved method to secure a backfed circuit breaker within a subpanel. This provision is crucial for preventing the unintentional dislodgement of the breaker, which could lead to a significant safety risk. The correct installation of the additional fastener is paramount and must adhere to the manufacturer's guidelines specific to both the subpanel and the circuit breaker. Typically, this involves utilizing a screw or bolt inserted through a designated hole in the subpanel, securing it firmly to the circuit breaker. To rectify previously incorrect installations, firstly, install additional fasteners to properly secure the backfed 60-amp circuit breakers in both subpanels. Secondly, thoroughly review all prior subpanel installations and install the required additional fasteners wherever backfed breakers are present. Several additional considerations should be taken into account. The 60-amp backfed circuit breaker must fulfill all stipulated requirements for disconnecting means, as explicitly outlined in NEC 408.36. It is essential that the additional fastener does not impede or negatively affect the correct operational functionality of the circuit breaker. If there is any uncertainty regarding the appropriate installation procedure for the additional fastener, it is highly recommended to seek guidance from a qualified electrician or consult the detailed instructions provided by the manufacturer. Understanding the nuances of NEC 408.36 is essential for safe and compliant electrical installations, especially when dealing with subpanels and backfed breakers. Failing to adhere to this code requirement can have serious consequences, potentially leading to electrical hazards and code violations. The NEC, or National Electrical Code, is a comprehensive set of standards that govern electrical installations in the United States. It's designed to ensure the safety of people and property by providing guidelines for electrical wiring, equipment, and systems. NEC 408 addresses switchboards and panel boards, which are critical components in electrical distribution systems. These components receive power from the utility or a generator and distribute it to various branch circuits within a building or structure. Panel boards, often referred to as electrical panels or breaker boxes, are commonly found in residential, commercial, and industrial settings. They house circuit breakers, which protect individual circuits from overcurrents such as short circuits and overloads. A subpanel is a secondary panel board that is fed from the main panel board. It allows for the distribution of power to a specific area or load, such as a detached garage, workshop, or addition to a building. Subpanels are useful when the main panel board doesn't have enough available breaker slots or when it's more convenient to run a feeder to a remote location and install a subpanel there. A backfed breaker is a circuit breaker that receives power from the load side rather than the line side. In other words, it's being used as an inlet for power rather than an outlet. Backfeeding a breaker is commonly used to connect a generator or other alternative power source to a panel board. It's also used in some solar power installations to feed excess energy back into the grid. However, backfeeding a breaker can be dangerous if it's not done correctly. That's why the NEC has specific requirements for backfed breakers, including the need for an additional fastener. The purpose of the additional fastener is to prevent the backfed breaker from being accidentally dislodged or disconnected. If a backfed breaker were to come loose, it could create a live exposed terminal, posing a serious shock hazard. Additionally, if the breaker were to be completely removed from the panel board, it could interrupt the flow of power from the alternative source, potentially causing damage to equipment or creating a safety hazard. NEC 408.36 specifically addresses the requirements for backfed breakers used as service disconnects. A service disconnect is the main switch or breaker that disconnects all power to a building or structure. When a backfed breaker is used as a service disconnect, it must be securely fastened in place to prevent accidental disconnection. The NEC requires that the additional fastener be an approved means of securing the breaker. This means that it must be listed by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories UL, and it must be specifically designed for use with the type of breaker and panel board in question. The additional fastener typically consists of a screw, bolt, or clip that attaches the breaker to the panel board enclosure. The fastener must be strong enough to withstand the forces that could cause the breaker to become dislodged, such as vibration, impact, or thermal expansion and contraction. In addition to the additional fastener, the NEC also requires that backfed breakers be clearly labeled to indicate that they are being used as a service disconnect. This helps to prevent confusion and ensures that electricians and other qualified personnel are aware of the potential hazards associated with backfed breakers. When installing a subpanel with a backfed breaker, it's essential to follow all applicable NEC requirements. This includes selecting the correct size and type of breaker, properly grounding the subpanel, and ensuring that all wiring connections are made correctly. It's also important to obtain any necessary permits and inspections from the local electrical inspector. Failing to comply with the NEC can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. In addition to the NEC requirements, it's also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the panel board and circuit breakers. The manufacturer's instructions provide specific information on how to install and maintain the equipment safely and correctly. When working with electricity, it's always important to take precautions to protect yourself from shock and other hazards. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE) such as safety glasses, gloves, and insulated tools. It's also important to energize the circuit before working on it and to verify that it's energized using a voltage tester. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, it's best to hire a qualified electrician to do the work for you. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform electrical work safely and correctly. They can also ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. In summary, NEC 408.36 requires an additional fastener or other approved means to secure a backfed circuit breaker in a subpanel. This requirement is designed to prevent accidental dislodgement of the breaker, which could create a safety hazard. When installing a subpanel with a backfed breaker, it's essential to follow all applicable NEC requirements and the manufacturer's instructions. It's also important to take precautions to protect yourself from electrical hazards and to hire a qualified electrician if you're not comfortable doing the work yourself. Understanding the requirements of NEC 408.36 and properly securing backfed breakers is crucial for ensuring safe and compliant electrical installations. By following these guidelines, you can help to protect yourself, your family, and your property from the dangers of electricity. Additional measures can be implemented to enhance safety. Firstly, regularly inspect electrical panels, looking for any signs of damage, loose connections, or overheating. Secondly, ensure proper labeling of all circuits and breakers, making it easy to identify and energize circuits when needed. Thirdly, install arc fault circuit interrupters of size and ground fault circuit interrupters (GFCIs) to provide additional protection against electrical fires and shocks. ASIs detect arc faults, which are dangerous electrical conditions that can cause fires, while GFCIs detect ground faults, which can cause electric shocks. Fourthly, educate yourself and others about electrical safety practices, such as avoiding overloading circuits, keeping electrical cords in good condition, and never using water near electrical devices. Fifthly, have a qualified electrician perform a comprehensive electrical inspection of your home or building every few years to identify any potential hazards and ensure that your electrical system is up to code. Sixthly, consider installing a whole house surge protector to protect your electronic devices from power surges, which can damage or destroy sensitive equipment. A whole house surge protector is installed at the main electrical panel and protects all of the circuits in your home. Seventhly, be aware of the signs of electrical problems, such as flickering lights, tripping breakers, and buzzing sounds. If you notice any of these signs, have a qualified electrician investigate the problem and make any necessary repairs. Eighthly, never attempt to repair electrical equipment or wiring unless you are qualified to do so. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it's always best to leave it to the professionals. Ninthly, keep trees and shrubs trimmed away from power lines to prevent them from coming into contact with the lines and causing a power outage or electrical hazard. Tenthly, if you are planning any renovations or additions to your home, consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that your electrical system is adequate to handle the increased load. An electrician can help you determine if you need to upgrade your electrical panel or add additional circuits. In addition to these safety measures, it's also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with specific types of electrical equipment. For example, portable generators can produce dangerous levels of carbon monoxide, so they should only be used outdoors in well-ventilated areas. Extension cords should be used sparingly and should never be overloaded. Appliances with frayed or damaged cords should be repaired or replaced immediately. By taking these precautions and following the guidelines of the NEC, you can help to ensure the safety of yourself and others around electricity. Electricity is a powerful and essential force, but it must be treated with respect. Neglecting electrical safety can have serious consequences, including fires, shocks, and even death. Therefore, it's crucial to be proactive about electrical safety and to take the necessary steps to protect yourself and your property. Remember, when in doubt, always consult with a qualified electrician. They can provide expert advice and guidance on all aspects of electrical safety. And never hesitate to call 911 in the event of an electrical emergency. In conclusion, addressing the situation with the subpanels requires immediate action to comply with NEC 408.36 by installing additional fasteners on the Backfed breakers. Furthermore, a thorough review of all past installations is necessary to ensure consistent adherence to safety standards. Always prioritize safety by consulting with qualified electricians and adhering to manufacturer's instructions, ensuring a secure and compliant electrical system.